There's a threat in the world today. A threat to our way of living, a threat to our society, and maybe even a threat to our very existence. And what is this threat?
Damon's getting a little hot. Dan already got a little hot. Take the hats off. So, you got anything else?
No, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing.
All right. Well, without further ado,
all right, I take that back. I have plenty. I have plenty. It's just with our guests.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, our guest is widely known around the Indianapolis area and further. He is the host of Breakfast with Kent. He is the host of Sports, Nothing But Sports. And he is an Indianapolis sports media icon, Mr. Kent Sterling. Kent, how we doing tonight?
Doing good,
Damon, geez. We're rookies, obviously.
Shut up.
How are you guys doing?
Good, good.
Awesome. Don't worry about us having headphones. That's just so we can hear the sound through here, so you're good.
I'm going to take them off because I was a little hot right now. It was a little stuffy right now.
Hot and bothers the shot.
Right.
That's what it was.
So, Kent, to all our fans, give us a little background of what you've done over the past years. You've been in this game for how long now?
Well, including management, a long time. Like, I moved here in 1993 and worked at WIBC for like 14 years as the assistant program director, and then became the program director at 1070 The Fan when we launched.
Okay.
And so I put together that station, which in most respects is still really very similar to what it was. And then also became the program director at WIBC.
Okay.
My boss passed away, Tom Severino, who's a great dude. He was replaced by a guy who wanted to bring in all his guys as managers. And so we were all kind of kicked to the curb. And I decided then, you know what, it wasn't management I got into this for. It was about talking and talking about sports. So I've been doing that for the most part since.
Okay,
cool.
All right. And you like the Indianapolis area, obviously.
I love Indianapolis. Okay. Indianapolis is like, if you take all the crap out of Chicago and some of the great stuff out of Chicago too, you got Indianapolis. The people are really genuinely nice.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. I think you define a city by its people, and Indianapolis is defined by its people very, very positively to me. This is where my friends are. I went to school at Indiana, so I'm an hour down the road from going back to Bloomington. And
so being from IU, how did it feel putting that Kentucky jacket on? I believe was it a jacket or
no good, no good. But my son married a Kentucky graduate, and so that's a kind of a bone of contention within the family. And Carissa's a wonderful person, and we love her.
Except for that trait.
Well, she's not like a hardcore. I mean, it's not like she's, like, oh, John Wall, yay, still.
Right.
You know what I mean? She enjoyed her time at Kentucky. I think with every day that passes, she realizes her mistake and has finally come to her senses.
That is great.
No forcing on it by the in-laws at all, right?
No.
I would say you're better than me because none of my children can ever talk or just have any kind of interaction with anybody from OSU.
Yeah, see, he is a true go blue guy. So
good.
I will disown you. I mean, my daughter can get a full ride scholarship, and I'm going to talk to her for 4 years.
There is nothing more obnoxious than an Ohio State fan with all the crap and the all that.
They do that to remember how to spell their state. That's it.
Those findings work for me.
It breaks my heart that Chris Holtman and that whole staff from Butler went over there because I love those guys. They're terrific people. Mike Schrage got the job at Elon, so he's gone. But I love Holt, and to think that I got to root for Ohio State somehow or another is appalling to me.
Right.
Love Michigan, though. Although with Michigan, you got Harbaugh. And who likes Harbaugh? Nobody likes Harbaugh.
Right.
I like Harbaugh.
One of us here.
Harbaugh's an asshat. I want to take a crowbar and get his name off the Ring of Honor up the street at Lucas.
A lot of people are starting to petition that, aren't they?
Well, I hope so.
I mean, what's wrong with Captain Comeback?
The guy played here for 4 years. He started 46 games. His record as a starting quarterback here was 20-26. And you want his ass in the Ring of Honor? Really? Is that
I
it?
like it. I like it. So, okay, let me.
And-
that
and
leads to a
so
real
can
quick.
we take
okay.
Jeff George out too?
He's not in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he's not in there.
Awesome.
No.
He's not in there.
Then okay, then I'm good with it. I'm
So
good with
it's
it.
a trick question.
How do you feel that when, if you're a college team, a college fan, so say IU had somebody, real good from, let's just stick with football on this, go to the Patriots or something, do you still root for them? Or do you root for the team, or do you root for the individual?
I mean, here's the thing: is as you get to know guys, you root for the individuals.
Okay.
My son played high school basketball, summer basketball, and then went to college and played at Loyola of Chicago.
Okay.
And the guys that he played in the summer with, Matt Howard, these are two of them, Matt Howard and Zach Hahn, played at Butler. And they were in the same conference as Loyola at that point.
Mhm.
Well, I still rooted for Matt and Zach. Even
But
though they
did
were
you
playing
want them
against
to
my son's
win,
team.
though?
No, want them to have a
Well,
good game.
You want them to
but
have a good
lose.
game, right?
Yeah, have a great.
Have
I
a good
just
game and
I
lose.
rooted for people. What I really rooted for, and maybe this makes me a bad guy, is I rooted for a lopsided score in either direction because that meant my kid got to play. Post games, Ryan didn't play a lot, but like blowouts, especially here at Hinkle, he'd get in, and it was fun to watch him play. So I really didn't care who won the game. What I cared about is Ryan's minutes.
Yeah,
I was
gotcha.
that kind of parent.
Gotcha. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. That shows where your love goes, obviously, and
Right.
that's good. I mean,
Right.
you got a lot of people out here that forget what
And,
that is.
Another guy who played summer with my son was a guy named Juwan Johnson, who was a Big Ten Player of the Year back
Okay.
in 2011. Great kid. I love Juwan. And just because I'm from Indiana, and for the most part, like as a rule, root against Purdue, I still love Juwan. Wanted him to do great, and he did. Matt Painter was great with Juwan, and Robbie Hummel was a good kid from that class. And so, it does become about the people. You root for him or you root against him.
Right. Like all of Indianapolis against Tom Brady and
Right.
everybody for Peyton Manning, especially when they had the
Yeah.
Denver Broncos half jersey with the Colts half jersey. It made no sense to me because I'm a diehard Philly fan in football, Eagles fan all day long. I root for the Colts, and I want to see our team do good unless they're playing the Eagles, and then I'm rooting for the Eagles. So
There is something about that heritage, but I'll tell you, like I'm from Chicago originally, so I grew up a Bears fan. But I hate Bears fans when they come to Indianapolis. You know what? They
Yeah.
are awful people.
Yeah.
They're drunk. They're obnoxious. They get a little bit violent. They
Yeah.
remind me of all the stuff that I hate about Chicago when they come here. So I've completely disenfranchised myself from the Bears. I'll root only for the Colts.
Well, I'm a Steeler guy,
Are
and
you?
I will root for anybody who plays for the Steelers, even if they went for that school in Ohio. Ryan Shazier, I still root for him. But if you leave the Steelers, you are nothing to me.
Yeah, dead.
You're dead in the water.
Done.
hands
But
washed.
I do root for all Michigan players in the league.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And
yeah,
there
I
are a
like to
lot
see
of
them. Yeah, I like to see them do well. So because who I root for at least 2 years at the University of Michigan. So I also cheer for them. I like to see them do well in the league. But I love to see them when they go to the Steelers because that makes it a double whammy.
The Steelers are just tough, right? I mean, that's their thing. I mean, Mike Tomlin's a tough coach. It's a tough team. Even when they bring wingnuts into the Steelers, it seems like that culture they embody that culture until they decide they just don't want to. They flat out don't want to play there anymore. And we've had some of that, right?
We won't charge you a quarter for the jar if you want to drop the bomb. It almost came out.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. It's a culture there. It's a concept, same way that you have in New England. This is the way that we do things. Either you fit into it or you don't.
Yep.
We're not going to change. There's something to be said for having 3 coaches in 50 years.
Oh, definitely.
There's something to be said in those 50 years only having 4 losing seasons and not back to back. So
What's amazing about that to me is that the Steelers with Noel Cowher and Tomlin, and then the Patriots with Belichick for the last 20 years. Why don't other franchises emulate that form? Go out, get the guy they want, and ride that horse until that guy doesn't want to coach anymore. I just don't understand. Those two really successful organizations, franchises whose success has really transcended generations, and nobody does it their way. I just don't get it.
Well, I know nowadays, especially in the college game, it's like you're going to get 2 years. If you can't do something in 2 years, they'll sign them for 5, but they only give them like 2, maybe 3. I mean,
Fans are crazy.
It sucks more in the college game than in the pro game, because in the college game, you have a system as a coach. And if you bring a coach in, that coach is coaching the players from somebody else's system. You have to give him time to cycle his players into that system.
Well, isn't that why they recruit who they recruit, is because they want them to fit in that system?
Right, exactly. So you have to give that new coach coming in at least those 4 years.
Right.
I would say 4 to 5 years to filter your guys in, and then see what you can do.
How about Brady Hoke? At what point did you say, okay, Brady Hoke's got to go?
Game one.
Spring practice.
So it wasn't 4
signing
or 5 years
day.
with Brady,
No,
was it?
or Rich. No, we saw that immediately.
Oh, man.
Appalachian State. That's all I need to say. That's it.
Wow, man.
But
I don't know. I'm a Notre Dame fan when it comes to football. So, and before you judge me for that, because a lot of people straight judge Notre Dame fans, I'm not one of those Notre Dame fans that is not a realistic thinker. And because Notre Dame, I'm going to go low on this. 80% of Notre Dame's fan base has a big head in this state, especially. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely.
You said a low percentage.
Yeah, I'm a low percent at 80%.
You know what? Really, the only sane football fans, I think, in this state are Indiana fans. What we do is we go down, we enjoy a tailgate, we stay for the first half, we get the hell out of there, we go to Nick's, we play Sink the Biz, we have a great day, and it doesn't matter a damn who wins or loses. We don't care. We don't have nights that are ruined because we can't sleep after an Indiana loss.
Yeah.
Or we'd never sleep.
Right.
I will say I've seen 3 Michigan games down in Bloomington as of right now. What a great place to watch a football game. Those guys do the keys and the first down, they get into it. Even though they're losing half the time. Well, it was a great football game.
I mean, that's why a lot of people when I was going to college and in high school looking at it, IU, man, let's go party in Bloomington.
Right. We win the party.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
I think you were second to Cal Poly one year in a Playboy top 10. But yeah, man, I watched I read Playboy articles back in the day. Yeah, I read the articles.
Does he still print it?
I don't think they do.
Printed?
I don't know.
I'd have to look the next time I go to the liquor store.
Right.
I don't know.
I'll have to look for that.
Normally don't go down that aisle. But yeah, I went to my IU story. I think I went down the Little 5 like 3 years in a row before I figured out it was a bike race.
There you go. We used to make I'd have them made when I worked at the radio station. When I worked at Emmis, I had the assistant program director for the music stations make up credentials for us that we'd have laminated, go down to the Little 500, and this is 10 years ago or so. Just show them. We had gallon jugs of screwdrivers. Showed them the credential, and they were like, "Oh, come right over here." And they said, "And who's the orange juice for?" We said, "Those are for the riders. They're for the Fiji team." They said, "All right, come right in." And we had about 18 guys all carrying a couple of gallons of screwdrivers, and we go up and party our asses off all day
There you
long.
go.
It was the greatest. The greatest. One of our guys, because on the credential, we put all access.
Yeah.
A guy walked across the track, the cop let him go, and he was the guy who, like guy 1, came off his bike, and the first guy whose hand he shook was Paulie Balst, a friend of mine from Chicago, with one of these idiotic credentials on it.
But it worked, right?
Had a guy the night before at Nick's say, "Hey, where'd you?" Because if you've got credentials like this, you wear them out. And the guy goes, "Hey, how do I get one of those credentials?" And I said, "Well, we donate a lot of money to the university." And he said, "I donate a lot of money to the university." I said, "We build buildings." And the guy just wah. It was the greatest.
He said we build buildings.
That's a little different.
All right, so now since we got a professional sports guy, let's talk some sports with 2 guys that talk sports in the garage. All right. So what's first up on the dock?
Well, we were talking about this a little bit ago before you came on, Kent. We're going to bring up this Kentucky Derby deal real quick.
God.
I mean, that's all that everybody's talking about. They had, 22 minutes after the race was finished when the horse crossed the line. It was 22 minutes later. They're still talking about this, trying to figure out who won, what do we do? Well, they knew who crossed first, but they didn't know who won. I want to hear your opinion on what happened, what transpired, and what's still going on.
Well, I had money on the 7.
Okay.
So I'm skewed. And that would have been the first Derby ticket I cashed.
Okay.
Ever. So I was hot. I was not happy. Number 2, I hate replay in all its forms. I'm just anti-replay.
Because you see so much.
Yeah, and it just doesn't really matter. Sports are supposed to be a diversion. We don't need to get ultra accurate about everything. You got a bunch of officials; they do their best. To hell with it.
Most of the time,
die with those decisions, and let's move on with the game.
Right.
But I thought it was clear that the 7 got spooked, started moving all over the place, clearly impeded the path of 13. And so what are you going to do? I felt terrible for the stewards because I thought that they were in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position. But the 20 never would have won that race anyway. If
That's
not
the
for the
point
7,
I'm trying to make.
That's not the question I asked you a minute ago, though. That had nothing to do with it.
That's the point I'm trying to make. He was a crying, whiny little b-boy.
If you're about to win, or you could have the potential win $3 million purse because you came in second, and what he did was wrong, regardless if it affected you or not, why wouldn't you try to see, let me just see if I can get it?
Here's my question. Isn't that what they got judges for?
Well, that's what they did. They did their job.
No. He went over, he got on his little horse, and he rode up to the wheel. He said, hey, he fouled them.
No, see, there was obviously somebody made the call to the stewards to inquire it.
Him.
And then they start talking to all the jockeys that were in it. So obviously it wasn't just the 20 horse jockey that said, yeah, he got up and away. If you watch the video, it clearly shows the 1 horse at that time, I believe it was, kicked the backside of the 7 horse because he cut in front of him. And I was trying to explain to you a minute ago that in an Indy car, per se, they both would have ended up in the wall. Neither one of them would have won, but it's still the back person would have been pissed off as hell at that guy that came down on him.
Here's my theory.
Yeah.
Put spikes on the horses and have them go at it.
We're bringing it back.
It's a charity race. Let's go.
More blood.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, did they make the right call for the sport or not? Because that's a big question there.
If it was a claiming race on a Thursday, there's no question that that's a decision that they'd make. But this is a Derby, and people bet a lot of money on that 7 horse. Taking that 7 horse down, am I going to be as enthusiastic about going to the winner's circle on Pennsylvania to, drop some dollars down and put money on a horse next year? Probably not.
Okay, so being that horse racing sport itself is a gambling sport.
Yeah.
When they legalize gambling across all sports, is that what we're going to have?
Oh, you know what? That's part of the thing, isn't it? We're going to be hot. In fact, like you go to games at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, go to Pacers games, or go to Colts game at Lucas Oil Stadium. People are going to be betting on the results of individual plays. Mm-hmm. Half that place is going to be cheering for this,
for the other team or whatever. Yeah,
we're gonna. It's going to be like being in a sports book, and you guys have been in a sports book. Mm-hmm. People are cheering all kinds of wacky ass stuff that you don't. There's no sense of community at all.
None
in a sports book, and I think we're going to lose that. What are the unintended consequences of this sports gaming legalization thing that the bill that Holcomb signed into law today? Is that our sense of community at a game is going to, over a period of time, kind of evaporate.
I totally agree with you on that.
And that's sad, because that's one of the cool things about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why everybody wants to play sports, especially when they're young, man. It's not homework. It's not, I'm listening to mom and dad tell me to do chores. It's, I'm playing a sport, and I'm playing with these guys, and I'm going to show them what I can do. And then once you evolve, it's like, okay, well, maybe I can make this a career to a small percentage. And now
we're not going to, we'll still wear jerseys, but it's not going to be about the result of the game as much as it is the result from a profit and loss standpoint to our betting, which is just kind of vapid to me. That's a sad outcome for this, but I do think it's going to be a lot of fun too.
It's almost to the point where it looked like they're going to take the fan out of it anyway.
Well,
it's going to end up looking like it did in the movies, where everybody's just at home and they're watching people do it on the screen,
right?
Or they're playing with the vision with the helmets on. Like,
so this is like the new Colosseum and Roman times and stuff. We all just watch it. It's all spectated.
Yep, all spectated. You just bet on it. You're going to take the whole fun out of it.
I don't know.
I mean, who knows? I mean, this is looking – I mean, you look at it now, they keep taking everything out. They keep raising the prices on everything.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what I mean, the owner of the 20 horse he owned another horse in that race, correct?
The owner of the
trainer or the owner of the 20.
I'm not sure.
I think the 20 owner or trainer did have.
There were like Baffert
horse.
had 3 in the race.
Yeah.
I know, and there was
Fletcher, I think, had
multiples.
2. Yeah. So, I mean, to answer your question, Sean, yeah. I mean, everybody knows where I stand. I mean, I think it was the right call.
I want my $100. That's what I want. I just want my $100.
I mean, like I was telling him earlier, if the 20 horse wasn't even in it, I would have hit the superfecta for whatever that paid out. If the 20 horse was not in it, I would have hit whatever that paid out for the 7, 13, 8, and 5.
The super perfecta with the 20
was like 50-some thousand
forever money.
Yeah, on a $2.
That was insane.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hot on that aspect, but it was like, to me, for the sport itself, they made the right call for what they were given.
It's a no-win scenario.
I'm waiting for some shit to come out of his mouth now.
That's one quarter. But no, I don't have anything to say. I don't, because I just think I think it was a bitch move because I feel
throw me one. I'm throw you
and
one
from
back.
all that I've read and all that I've seen, I feel that the 20 horse or people in the 20 horses camp excited that video footage or whatever. Now, if the stewards or the judges, whoever is involved, makes that call off their assessment of it, I'm completely cool with
I don't even think they had it. I don't think us listening and watching even knew that maybe they did have something that they were going to talk to, but the inquiry or the objection came in from the horse already. So
okay,
I don't know.
All right,
that's the part is unknown.
Unknown. The unknown unknowns.
Next.
So, okay. Let's jump in. Let's skip basketball because that can be a minute. Let's go talk about the Colts real quick. What did you take out of the draft moves?
You know what? What they're doing is building a culture, and as you talk to these guys, you can see it in their eyes. You know, you talk to Rocky Scene or Paris Campbell or who's the guy from Stanford, Bobby Okereke,
yeah,
right? Ben Banagoo. These guys are clear-eyed. They're focused. They're adults in the room. There are times when, as you go in as a media guy and you talk to players, whatever sport, you think, well, okay, I got to ratchet back the question. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if they're going to get it.
Right.
These guys are smarter than us. And that's a really good thing. You watch the tape, although, what do we watch? We watch highlight tape. It's like in basketball. Nobody misses a shot on a highlight reel. None of these guys are missing a tackle.
Right.
So we don't really know whether they can play. Mm-hmm. But from a size perspective, to fit their position, from how they graded out, from how they performed at the combine and at their pro day, they had a hell of a draft given what they had to work with, and they stockpiled a 2 for next year. I love their draft. This is the second draft in a row where I thought that the Colts brought in men who were ready to compete. I love it. They're fast as hell. These linebackers, that linebacker crew with Darius Leonard, and then you go ahead and put Okereke back there or Banagoo or Anthony Walker. You got a fast group of linebackers who are going to play their asses off. I love it.
Right now, just looking at what I've seen so far, I like the Colts as second in the AFC.
Behind who?
Behind New England.
Okay. I thought he was going to
That's
say
just
some
a good
crap
bet.
about Steelers. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I got right now, I got
I know
some
you
things
said 3 for
I say
Steelers.
3, 4 for the Steelers. There's some things I need to see
Yeah.
before I can jump them up. Obviously, you're going to get whatever you get out of bed. But the Colts, I like everything that they've done.
Yeah, they haven't missed a beat.
And making those extra misses with Andrew Luck for that year, or how all of us were get rid of him, trade him, trash him. You know what I mean? He's never going to come back. Hey, foot in mouth. And I admitted it last year, foot in mouth.
So
I like the way this team going.
What did you what side were you on that? Did you use Andrew Luck to to bring somebody in or keep him?
I mean, you know, he's a generational quarterback.
Yeah.
And so you keep him and you hope, because you're not going to get – look at Sam Bradford was supposed to be kind of that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam Bradford is not that guy.
Nothing.
You know, you look at guys who've been taken number 1 overall as a quarterback. Look at RG3 as a 2 pick in the 12th draft. He didn't work out. You got a lot of guys, a litany of guys where teams picked one and they picked the wrong guy.
Yep.
The Colts, they got it right. If that thing knits back, you're in business, and it did. So, you know, you win. Otherwise, I mean, you're just hoping.
Right, and here's the thing, too. When he got hurt that year, the Colts didn't have an offensive line for anything.
Right.
I mean, their rushing yards.
Themselves.
I mean, yeah. And now they got, what, Kelly, Nelson, Quentin Nelson. You got some big
Smith,
boys.
they didn't even think it was going to be a tackle when they drafted, and they thought he was going to play right guard.
Yep.
You know, you still got Costanzo. You've got Lewinsky, who graded out great.
Yeah.
You're bringing all of those guys back, and then
to
most
teach
of the
these
guys
young
were
guys.
backups.
Yeah, they got studs. They're big. They run block. They pass block. They man.
Is the AFC
smart.
South? Is the AFC South theirs to lose?
Definitely.
You know what? That's a great question, because I think everybody else is better. Like the Jaguars are better. Jaguars were like, what, a minute and a half away from going to the Super Bowl a year and a half ago?
And then they had a flop.
You know, Tennessee is going to be better. I think that Houston is going to be better. They improved their offensive line. They're going to be able to protect Watson a little bit better. The AFC South is a bunch of badasses, but I love the Colts and the way they're building. I think Chris Ballard is a hell of an executive. The thing that I don't get is, how did the same people who hired Ryan Grigson, how did they hire Chris Ballard? How could he get it so wrong and so right?
You know,
the same people?
you know how good I felt being an Eagles fan when he went away. It's like, oh my God, thank you, because I had Chip Kelly over there too, and it's like, I'm in shit creek without a paddle for the next couple years.
Yeah,
oh man.
I mean, I like it. I'm gonna tell you, right when I knew that my foot might be inserted, it was right before training camp, when they showed those pictures of Andrew coming out of the facility.
Yeah.
And they showed how big he was in the upper body.
Yeah.
That's when I knew, because to get that way, that's all shoulders and chest work. If your shoulder in any kind of way is not ready, you're not going to put on that much weight with a bad shoulder. At that point, I think it's just figuring out his rust and then going from there. And we've seen some dynamic receivers come up to help T.Y.
Yeah.
Because for a minute there, I kind of doubted if T.Y. was a number one receiver. I almost thought that he needed a Harrison, not a Harrison, but
like a Reggie?
Yes, Reggie Wayne. I thought he needed a Reggie Wayne for him to be what we thought T.Y. was, but he shut me up too. So
he's not built like a one, right? He's not really that prototypical. When you talk to him, it's not like talking to Odell Beckham Jr. You know, he's a thin, wiry guy, but he gets it. I think getting Funchess as a free agent, I think that's a good pickup. And then Paris Campbell, you know, I'm sorry that he's a Buckeye, but he can play. And he is, I'll tell you what, you look at the way he measures, and they measure him at 6 feet, but he ain't 6 feet. He's like 6'1.5". Like, I'm 6 feet, and he's a good inch on top of me, and he wasn't wearing heels. So he's not your prototypical slot guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to win physical matchups out of the slot.
Right.
And they got the tight ends that they've got. I think their offense, if Marlon Mack stays healthy, those backs stay healthy, they're awesome.
Mhm.
This is potentially a great offense.
Like he was saying earlier, they're going to definitely be top 3, top 4 in the AFC. Now, what I said last week on the show is I was making a real way too early prediction that the Colts and Eagles may meet each other in the Super Bowl. Now, I would love that. I have been waiting for that matchup for years, obviously, if we look at the NFC East, especially real quick, that is our division to lose.
Oh, yeah.
Now, with yes, please. With Washington picking up, God, who they draft? Who did Washington? Oh, Haskins.
Oh
Yeah.
They got your buddy.
Yeah.
Any quarterback could be great, but if they don't have somebody blocking for them that's keeping them off the ground.
Redskins are always going to be a train wreck because Dan Snyder's an idiot.
Yes, I agree.
You can't run a team, and you know the Giants are in trouble because they're.
What did
gonna
you think of
continue
that
to ride
draft pick?
Eli into the ground.
What did you think of that draft pick? Daniel Young.
Oh, I thought. You know what? I don't know enough about the kid on Duke to make any kind of decision.
Right.
But going by
sir.
people that I respect who told me stuff, that was a total reach, and Dave Gettleman's nuts. Right? We'll see. Maybe they're right. But you know what? Everybody isn't wrong very often.
But if you do something like that, why wouldn't you have used Eli as trade bait last year?
Yeah, right.
But,
Right.
I mean, really, who's going to –
Somebody would have.
I mean, what?
Somebody
Miami?
would have. But last year they could have. Yeah. They may actually have their quarterback now.
If I'm anybody in anybody's franchise, I'm sorry, I'm not giving up anything for Eli.
He won two Super Bowls.
Yeah. And so did Trent Dilfer.
So Ben, right? Ben's won 2, right?
Well, Ben
and
aren't.
Eli, they're tied, aren't
No, they're 2 different quarterbacks.
That's funny.
Ben can still play. We don't know about Eli.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how excited can you be to play when you got Odell Beckham? I mean, sorry.
Right.
I'm from the old school. I'm not really into all this loud locker room, outside talk. I'm not. Everything gets handled in the locker room.
Well, it's all that branding crap. Everybody wants to brand themselves. And that's a selfish act.
Yep.
And I don't deal well with that
That's
either.
taught at a young age nowadays too.
Right. Oh my God.
I coach elementary
We got that
basketball,
kid
and it's
that
like, are you serious? They're not LeBron or Jordan or somebody yet at all.
Right.
I mean, why isn't my kid playing more? Well, I mean, I got 8 kids. What do you expect me to do?
You don't have to be anybody to tweet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so and that's what they do. You got the kid who's going to declare where he's going to go. It's between, I can't even remember the kid's name off the top of my head, but it's between Indiana and Memphis.
Oh,
and the kid's just constantly hyping himself and hyping himself. I don't want him to go to Indiana.
No,
I'm tired of these hype guys.
Yep.
I want guys who are going to be in the
Team.
gym, not on their smartphones.
Team.
That's
Right.
why I love Coach Beeline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and-
right.
IU missed one on that.
We ain't got none of those guys.
No drama.
But Beeline continues to put these guys in the league, and they continue to be successful in the league.
They keep losing guys and not recruiting highly rated guys,
Mhm.
and they just keep winning and winning and winning and winning. I think Beeline, even as he's kind of assumed to be a top 15 coach in college basketball, I think he's way underrated.
Oh,
I think
definitely.
he's top 5 easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, X's and O's. I mean, you can't. I don't think there's too many coaches. Now, I know you got head coaches that have assistant coaches that are offensive or defensive wizards.
Right.
There's not too many times where you have head coaches that excel in those aspects. I don't know too many offensive-minded coaches better than John Beeline.
No.
I mean, those guys cut,
up
screen,
there.
move, back screen. You make any mistake on defense, and they capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And what made them better this year
That's what-
was defense.
That's what
Now
almost
he's
got that. If they would have had the defense this year, if they would have had the defense they had this year, last season, they would have knocked Villanova off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
agree.
believe so.
agree.
I mean, yeah, I know you are going to agree.
I mean, as a basketball guy, I will agree.
Right.
I mean, because that was the only difference. They played a more physical offensive game, Villanova did to Michigan.
Yeah.
Which they came back this season, and Michigan played a lot more physical defensive game. Other than Michigan State, they just beat up on everybody.
And Villanova had Brunson.
Oh,
And
yeah, he was a
Brunson,
stud.
He was
really, that's a winning basketball player. I wish, and I love Aaron Holiday. He's fine. But I really wish that the Pacers had used that pick to get Brunson at 23 or whatever it was, and they let him go. And I think the Mavericks took him early in the second, and he had a really, really nice rookie season. Jalen Brunson has been a terrific, smart basketball player forever.
I agree.
So,
I agree. Since we switched topics.
Yeah, right. That's fine. But that's how I like our show to go.
Man.
We just talk sports because that's what we do when you're in the garage. You just go.
That's right.
But since we're on that topic, and I got a Purdue guy that's on here right now keeping an eye on us, what's your assessment of Carson Edwards? Because I know mine, coming into the season, I was like, how is this guy a preseason All-American?
Yeah.
Please explain to me how. And the way they started off the season, I was starting to feel like I knew what I was talking about.
Right. And then
right, what had happened was
exactly.
So now we've seen a lot of small guards make it into the league recently. I think the last one was Yogi, was the smaller of the guards.
He went
getting
undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So do you see Carson in the league?
You know, I'm going to say the same thing about him in the NBA as I was saying about Kyle Guy when he was at Lawrence Central. Who's he going to guard in college, right? Kyle Guy. Well, they found people for him to guard, and he's a hell of a college basketball player. So I'm going to stop saying that kind of thing about guys. And I think that Carson Edwards, they're going to find somebody that he can defend a little bit. He's long. He's a volume scorer. I think he's going to have to kind of tweak his game a little bit. But I think he can play. He's not really as short. Like, you stand next to him, I don't know. He's 6 feet tall, right? He's close to 6 feet tall.
I'm 6'6", so 6 foot is kind of
6
small.
feet.
I mean, my 14-year-old daughter is 6'2". So.
Yeah.
I love the kid. The way he played and the leadership that he brought to that team. I thought that senior class was really good with Eifert, Klein, and Edwards.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good group, and I think those guys are going to be missed. Purdue, like last year, they lost 4 starters, right? They lost Dakota Mathias and Isaac Haas and P.J. Thompson and Vincent Edwards. And I thought, holy hell, how are they going to rebound from that?
I thought the same thing.
And then
the same thing.
They won the Big Ten.
Right.
You know, I think Matt Painter, he's one of those system guys.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated coach.
He teaches toughness. And those guys are tough.
And that Matt Painter thing goes back to our topic earlier about letting coaches
to have the time to have time to put their system
Painter's
in.
been there since Katie left.
Yep.
Right. That's exactly right.
I mean, he hasn't been to a Final Four. He hasn't won a national championship, obviously, but they're not pushing him out.
No.
They win games.
He's consistently
he
up
graduates kids, and there's no issues in this program.
Which right there, you said, in my opinion, should be the biggest thing. We graduate our kids that come through here.
I mean,
you know,
I couldn't off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's a very high 90%.
Now, they have had some issues. They do have Isaac Haas being like the typhoid Mary of herpes in West Lafayette. We did have that. So there's some things that have happened there that people don't really want to talk about too much. But, you know, that aside, really, really good kids, and they play basketball really hard.
Right. You don't hear – no, besides that, you don't really hear a lot from Purdue negative-wise.
Right.
As far as all the shit that's going on in NCAA, the allegations that's going on with 30 million different people, you know. Purdue's not, that I know of, has really never been in that talk.
Well, they're not in the game.
Wouldn't like that.
Exactly. Like, they're not in the game on top 30 guys, so they're not kind of fishing in the waters where you got to go to the pay lake.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just not who they are. And good for Matt for creating
that
kind
culture.
of a machine that allows them to do that.
Yeah. Now, you did say, I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday morning in your breakfast segment, about what you like to see happen to all these coaches and all these boosters and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree. And correct me if I'm wrong with this, because you obviously are more into that scene than we have been. Do you ever see things that you're like, I mean, did that really happen in front of me? Or did you hear something that somebody was like,
Oh,
are you
hear
kidding me?
stuff, but you don't know what you can believe.
Well, yeah,
Like,
hearing
I've
is
heard
different.
From two guys that know about Romeo Langford's dad getting money from Adidas, right? Not for him to go to IU, but to run the AAU program that he ran down in New Albany. And both these guys have come up with wildly different numbers.
Yeah.
So I know that, like, there's information, but I don't think you can really trust any of it. I mean, there are guys you can tell by the parents.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can tell by the parents who's getting the money, right?
Yep.
Because there are parents who just look like, okay, I'm here to get paid.
Like Lamar Ball?
And
LeVar Ball? LeVar, not Lamar.
So you see that.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen guys, this goes back 12 years to when my kid was playing in the summer, but there was a lot of cash being thrown around at, I won't say who, but a guy who sponsored our team was talking to our coach, handed him a wad of money, giant wad of money after our kids played a really good game and beat a good team. Said, hey, make sure the kids have a good time. Gave this coach a wad of money. The kids saw it, and the kids thought, man, we're going to have a good time. What do you think that coach did with that money? Right in his pocket. That's exactly right. Nothing
to the people who did it. Yeah.
I mean, your horses, dog. Your horses. You're nothing but a thoroughbred in a race.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and then especially when this gambling comes, it's going wide open.
And they've rode you to the thing. They'll put you in the pasture, and they'll keep on moving.
Yeah.
That's the story of all college sports since the start of time.
I mean, all three of us sitting here know that, like, and you mentioned this too, we know that kids are getting paid.
Right.
Okay, we understand that. And I don't necessarily agree or disagree one way or the other to the full extent, because that university is giving you a full ride education. You know, they're giving you
$100,000
education. Yeah, they're giving you. You go to Notre Dame, it's like $50,000 a year, which is ridiculous.
It could be, but you know what's happening.
They're not getting that full tuition.
They're not letting kids choose their neighbor or their majors.
Right.
You know, they're steering kids away from the hardcore academic stuff.
Everybody's in publications or
right.
What it is that we do, broadcasting, teaching, you know, physical training.
Yeah, they're in
therapy,
taking golf lessons.
A lot of that.
You know, it's ridiculous. You know, and then when they get out to the world,
they don't know what the hell to do. Yeah,
no clue.
But they made their grades and they got their degree.
Exactly.
And aren't we wonderful for putting them in a position to do that?
Right.
And the kids
are lost.
Kids kind of founder around. If they're not playing professional basketball, football, those are the guys I feel worse for. Because with football, you don't have any kind of minor league system. You can't go to Europe and make a whole lot of money. You can't go to the G League and make – now you can make a legitimate wage.
Right. You can make about, 40, 50 grand.
You can make like I think you can pay guys now like $109,000 or something like that.
In the G League?
Those are guys who are getting 10 days, though. Those are probably the guys that they're coming up.
We're getting ready to post you. Yeah, we're really
getting
ready
the end of the bench guys for sure.
Yeah, you're that. Maybe you could go here.
Right.
We're gonna keep.
We might use you to trade off to get this guy.
But it is it. I want colleges and universities to provide meaningful educations for the kids and for the kids to covet that, to want the education. I don't know how to get that done.
Right.
When I went to college, I was an idiot. You're going to be idiots sometimes. But you would like them to understand what's at stake, because not everybody makes the NBA and not everybody makes the NFL. And so you better take care of business while you're getting it for free.
Right.
And go out and prepare yourself to go into business for yourself, for God's sake, and make a living. Because if you don't, nobody else is going to do it for you.
Don't just own a barbershop and a nightclub.
Right.
I mean, do something.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, really, I'm 40 and we're balding.
You're
how many
older than
barbershops
40.
really do we? Yes.
You're older than 40.
We're just going to stick with the round number. I mean, how many barbershops do we really need?
Well, right. No, here's the thing, and we should honestly be killing, not physically killing, but
Sorry, my barber friends, I'm just joking.
But I mean, we should be shooting these parents left and right out into the media and out into social media and sitting saying, you either raise your kids right, or when they do get out of college because they didn't make it to the next level, they're not going to know what to do.
But you know what? Here's the thing, too, that parents have no idea what the hell they're doing in terms
Until
of
something
the recruiting
happens.
process, because they've never been through it.
Right.
I went through it at we were getting calls from Princeton and Harvard and Army and Navy, and every once in a while, like Eastern Kentucky and Loyola and Drake.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the place, but I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Right, and they don't
I
have
didn't know how
anybody to
deal with
help
any
you
of
guys
this.
out in that aspect because
Right.
they want to bend people over left and right.
When have you been offered, right, a scholarship? Some people think they've been offered a scholarship, and there's been no scholarship offer. They say, hey, we'd like you to come see the campus. People take that as an offer.
That's
That's
only a
not an
visit.
offer.
Right.
It's
Right.
only a visit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People get confused. They
Been
don't
on
know the
plenty of
vernacular.
visits.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and
If
that's
you're
one-
in that, I'm sorry. If
No,
you're
you're good.
if you're a parent and you're in that situation,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm imagining that you were smart enough to start looking into, okay, I don't get the whole aspect, but I'm putting some dots on some certain things and understanding.
And I would call people
to
and ask them
research,
things.
to
Yeah.
research and to help your kid go in the right path.
Right.
You know.
And I always trusted, like my son was born way more mature than I'm ever going to be. So I trusted that his path was going to be the right one, no
Right.
matter kind of how I screwed it up. He'd find a way to sort of override my screw ups and find the way to the place that suited him best. And
Right.
he did. And it all worked out great. And I just wish that I would have known 15 years ago that it was all going to turn out this well. And I'd have kind of relaxed and just watched him play ball and enjoyed myself, But you're like, when you're in Vegas and you're playing in front of every college basketball coach there is, Krzyzewski and Roy, Self, all these guys, and your kid plays 9 minutes in a game, which was the all-time low for Ryan, and went 0 for 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the way parents roll.
Yeah, I mean, and you're getting into it. I'm already involved in it. My daughter plays AAU basketball, and that's one of the things that I love about the program that she's with. She's finishing 8th grade, getting ready to go into high school.
Yeah.
So the recruiting, like I said, she's almost 6'2", she's 14. So the recruiting is going to start coming in,
Right.
as she starts to
Right.
develop more and more. And the program that she's with for AAU, Natalie runs. What she does is NCAA compliance in her profession outside of the running our program.
Yeah.
And who better to run to teach your girls? And that's one of the things
Right.
she spoke about when she talked to all of us parents is, hey, I'm here to help you through this process. There's a lot of murky water out here when you're recruiting boys, girls, basketball, football. There's a lot of stuff that you got to filter through. And, you got somebody who's involved in it, who does it for a living, and then they teach your kids how to play the game.
Right.
I think we're in a win-win situation.
And the best part of the whole deal, and like I said, we had kids who went to Purdue and Butler and all over the place, and all wonderful kids, but they were great friends. And so
Right.
when our guys would travel, whether it was up to the field house in Fort Wayne or Vegas or Houston or wherever we went, they loved each other and they played basketball together like a family. And so those are the guys who remain, and the guys who he played college ball with. Those are my son's best friends. And so that made the whole thing very, very worthwhile for him and for us. Hell of a lot of work,
Right.
like crazy amount of work to get that good.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're learning that.
Yeah, I mean, she's 7 days a week. She's in the gym,
I mean,
probably
you can-
5 of them.
Damon, you can. It's okay, man. You could tell Kent what your background was. I'm gonna bring him out.
No, there's
He's-
no background.
He was a Lawrence North graduate
There's
and a
no
wonderful
background.
basketball player, and went to Paris College to play basketball for a couple years. Then he got old and started falling apart, so he had to quit.
When you played LN,
93 is when I came out.
So when you
Okay.
first came
That
in,
was
yeah.
when you got here.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
That year, Kojak Fuller was Mr. Basketball.
Right.
Randy Zachary up at Highland was the backup. I played with Jeff Layden, whose wife is the head coach of Kokomo's girls team, who just won, I think, their 3rd straight state title.
So, did you play with Bob Kaiser? Like, was Bob a senior maybe when you were a freshman?
I was a freshman. I went to North Central.
Okay.
But my freshman year would have been Montrose's last year.
Okay.
Montrose, Cassiano, Victor Bush, buddy mine, James Long. That'd have been their year.
So you know Victor?
Yeah, the Lawrence North people, we know each other. I don't know him like, hey, you know this, but we know each other from the program.
I hate he didn't coach. He was the best high school coach. When my kid was playing at Cathedral, he coached at Northwest.
Oh, man, you went to Cathedral?
My oldest son went to Cathedral. Yes.
Victor Bush was the best high school basketball coach.
I did like you, Kent. Go Rebels.
I just hate that he's not doing it anymore. I
think he the AD over LN?
He was, I don't know what he's doing anymore. He was running like athletics for IPS, and he was doing a bunch of different stuff. I hope he is. I hope he's around kids because he's great for them.
Yeah, so that was a really good team. So that was a really
Just
good
to let
team.
you know, I never lost to Cathedral in my high school years.
Perfect. Where'd you go to high school?
Roncalli.
Roncalli?
Yeah. Back before
he
all
graduated
the
this scene. He graduated this century.
Yeah.
I love Roncalli. I think Roncalli's terrific.
For the most part.
We were the station
For the
Roncalli
most
Athletics.
part.
So I was talking to like Michael Wantz every week during the season. And do you know Mackie Jones?
Damon, he's talking to you.
I'm laughing at Leo, man. He said we're reverse Oreo.
Did you know Mackie Jones? James Jones? He runs he's got a great restaurant out on the east side. Anyway, I'm going back to my guys in that area.
His place.
Yeah,
his place, right there at 30th and Shadeland.
Right.
Right about.
Your guy.
Yep.
Yeah, a great dude.
Oh yeah.
He worked with us at WIBC for a long time.
Okay, yeah, because
I love James.
Yeah, when I went in there, we started talking about stuff, and he mentioned that.
And his kids playing football down at IU.
Yes.
And he's a monolith. The kid's like 6'10", and like he's as big as this room.
Really?
He's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, James isn't that small of a guy either.
No, but he is 6'10".
And they got good food over there.
They do.
Man,
great
food.
tips.
Oh yeah, you'd like it.
Courtney said you sound like Al Bundy.
Who, me?
Yes. 4 touchdowns in one game. All right. So, all right. We've talked about Purdue. We talked about the Colts.
Well, real quick, I want to bring this Butler IUPY matchup. I heard they got the first game at Hinkle Fieldhouse this year is Butler and IUPY, right?
Yeah.
So, Jason Gardner is IUPY's coach.
Yeah.
I played up against him in the AAU bracket when he was with Harrington, Jonathan Bender. I don't remember who else was on that team. It was ridiculous to watch him because it's like
played with his brother.
James.
Did you?
His older brother.
James is way better than Jason.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Wow, look at woo.
What?
Ooh.
Hey, I'll put it on record. All you people who know,
Ooh.
James was way better than Jason. And he was left-handed. He was way better than Jason.
Jason was an All-American.
He sure was. But Jason learned from James how to do not what to do when to do it.
Yeah, well, that's true. So, okay. Do you think Butler being a season opener at home, do you think they're going to roll over that IUPY team, or is that IUPY team going to come in there and take Hinkle Fieldhouse by storm?
I think IUPY is always going to be good as long as Jason's the coach.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think he's terrific, and I think he's done a great job recruiting the guys that kind of fall sort of in that level beneath Indiana, Butler, and Purdue. I think he's done a terrific job of putting together that program as they've moved up a level in conference.
Yeah.
I like Jason a lot. I think this is going to be an interesting year for Butler.
Okay.
Butler, they lost guys. They lost Jorgensen, they lost Fowler, they lost Brunk. Gillen's Butler, whatever that is, it's a hyphenated name that ends in Butler. He's gone. They're going to have to figure some things out. Kamara's going to have to do what Carson Edwards did for Purdue this year.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do that next year.
Do they have the coach they can do? I'm sorry. Do they have the coach?
I like Lavelle. Lavelle Jordan can coach.
He's a good dude.
I think so too.
Hey, Lavelle can hoop though.
Yeah,
Because we was in that I played against him and with him a couple times in the pro-am circuit and then the open gyms up in Butler when we were still in our
Who's
our
out
late
Bundy
20s.
now?
Yeah.
But I mean the dude can hoop.
Yeah.
I mean, so I like a good mind, and he sat on the bench up there at Michigan with Beeline.
Yeah.
So he comes from good lineage, and the year that he was in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
They improved.
Yeah,
So
they did.
I like it, but I want what's going to test now is that you got these guys that were there that were solidified what we talked about. Now it gets into recruiting.
Mhm.
You're in the Big East.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Them big boys.
Yeah.
So I want to know how you're going to get those players to continue to compete on that high level. Because, I mean, you got the Villanovas, the Seton Halls are coming back around. The
Thank
St.
you.
John's are
But
coming
you
back
got to
around.
stay true to your culture.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to recruit Butler guys.
Yep.
Right.
You can't do what Peter did like back in 11 and 12 and 13 where you
Mhm.
go out and get the wing nuts and bring those guys in because you think they're a little bit more athletic and we got to take a jump in athleticism and all of a sudden your culture falls to shit.
Yep.
And you can't win games. Butler's got to be careful to raise the level of its athleticism without corrupting its culture.
So is that where IU is now?
I think IU has a chance to be really good. I think Archie is starting to get this thing right. They've still got there are the Crean guys and the Archie guys. And the more Archie guys who come in, like Armand Bradley, Cathedral kid, Armand Franklin can flat play.
Yeah,
He is
can.
really smart. He's a diligent kid. I can't
That's the
wait
kid
to
they're
see
getting
him.
for Cathedral, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's
so they got him
terrific.
from Cathedral. They got Mr.
Jackson
Basketball
Davis,
from
really
Center
good.
Grove.
Joey Brunk.
Yeah.
And so I think the influx of the guys who kind of got their heads screwed on right as Indiana guys, those guys are really going to have a profound effect on Indiana as those Green guys who came in from like New York
Right.
and think they're going to the league after, playing 4
Right.
Big Ten games. Those guys are going to wash
So that
out
kind of goes.
finally.
Well, that kind of goes back to my question that I had on your post the other day. I think it was yesterday about the IU culture and all that. Is Archie and IU going to get back to building a program, or are they looking for these one and dones and just get them rolling?
I think if you look at the guys that they're recruiting in 2020 and 2021, they got a couple of, they got one top 10 guy in 20, I think, that they're looking at. The other guys that they've offered, the other guys are ranked 50th, 38th, guys like that. I think they're being far pickier than Tom Crean was. I think Crean was more like, go out and get me a 6'11" guy.
Right.
And
I don't care if he
could
can play or not.
Tim Priller.
Yeah.
Or Jeremiah April.
Right.
You wound up with these guys who couldn't play dead. So I think that there's a strategic build of culture while trying not to gut the thing and lose a bunch in the first couple of years like Crean had to when he took over from Dan, or really from Kelvin. Dan was there for 7 games.
I was going to say, yeah.
Dan would have been a good coach. Dan would have been a good guy.
You think so? Why doesn't he give himself as much credit then?
That's his way.
Okay.
And Dan depends on what day you talk to him. Some days he gives himself too much credit. Some days he doesn't give himself enough credit.
It evens itself out, don't it?
Accurate.
Yeah, I was recruited by the guy before Dan at Bowling Green, so.
Oh, you
Were
were?
you really?
Yeah.
But now he's at.
Was it Hunt? What was his last
See,
name?
he's trying to get
that
you.
guy.
He's trying to
I
get
got
you
you,
to
I
say
got
his
you, I
name
got you.
so he can remember.
Yeah, Hunt. I think was his name. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's where I was going to go.
To Bowling Green.
I was going to go to Bowling Green.
What made you
Yeah.
go to Paris, Texas?
No, that was my JUCO.
Okay.
That
I
was
got
my
you.
JUCO. But yeah, I was gonna go to Bowling Green. That's what, because I went to UIC. I
Yeah.
visited UIC. I went to Bowling Green twice. I went there on an unofficial visit. Me and my mom drove down there. They came up here to watch me play at the park.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I got to school, I went on an official visit. So I had 3 visitors with them.
I mean, he is a Gus Macker slam dunk champion, aren't you?
Yes, like 5. 5 or 6. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, so I mean, I like Dan. I mean, we banter back and forth a couple times before. I know I got Paul George involved in one of them. So
yeah, I remember that.
Really?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
He's one of the very few, and I'm not saying I dislike George, but I don't think that you care too much for him now.
I do not like Paul George. No.
Well, he's a George fan, and I don't remember what the whole circumstance was, but Paul George actually came into the whole mix on Twitter. It was pretty funny.
Because he was. I think the conversation started off like, I mean, who cares? Like they was asking who's going to cheer for Paul when he comes back. Who's not.
Right.
And he was like, well, who gives a crap or whatever? And I said, well, my 6-year-old son does, who never got a chance to see him play as a Pacer, and this is his favorite player, so he cares. Yeah. So we're going to be there on the front row, and we're going to watch Paul George play. And so Paul liked it and then retweeted it.
Okay.
And Dan got real quiet and didn't say nothing else after that.
Is that right?
Yeah. He hadn't responded to anything I've said since then. So
Paul's one of those guys. Paul's one of those brand guys, though, that you don't
Paul,
like.
man.
He's a brand guy. I got to change my number to 13. I got to,
He should have thought about that when he came in, though. If he's going to do that, he should have thought about that from the beginning. Man, PG-13.
But you got to. Nike has something to do with that. Nike has something to do with that.
There's a quarter. I heard it.
I like Paul. You know what I mean? I don't specifically mean his off the court.
Yeah.
You know, sleeping with teammates' wives, and strippers and things.
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm not all into that. My bad. But I like his game. I like the way he hoops. I like how he came in as a defensive player and he's developed as one of the dynamic offensive threats in the game.
Yeah.
He's improved all of his numbers in shooting percentage. He's taking better shots. I mean, I like the guy.
Every year, though, we talk about the Thunder. We say, okay, the Thunder are going to challenge in the West. They're the team that we got to look at as maybe a threat to the Warriors. And every year they lose in the first round. Every year they tank it in the first round.
Yep. And I'm not a guy who goes into excuses. And that's one of the things I did like about Paul, because he came out and still played, even though everybody knew that everything in his shoulder was all jacked up.
Yeah.
But he still came out and played. He still came out and competed. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But I think if you had a healthy Paul George, what you had before the All-Star game, and a mediocre Westbrook is what we had all season, they get out of the first round. I don't know if they compete with Golden State. I think they need another scorer. Maybe it's Schroeder, maybe not. You bring somebody else. I don't think it's Morris, but they need to have a third scorer. You have to. Adams does what Adams does, but you need somebody who can give you 15 to 20 points every game.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right, yeah.
I mean, because if that's how you're going to compete in the West, because all the top teams have more than one.
You're paying Westbrook like forever money.
That's
you're
ridiculous.
paying Paul forever money. You're paying Adams, what, $27 million?
And nobody's going to want to take that over.
I like Adams, but I don't think he's max money.
Right.
No.
I mean, maybe if he was on Game of Thrones, he'd probably get max money. But I don't think he's a max money guy.
No, I agree. And I don't agree with what they're getting paid in professional sports anyway, but it is what it is.
Yeah, teachers should be getting paid that money. But that's a whole nother story. You know,
that's another segment. Kent, we'll have you back for that one for sure.
We glorify the athlete, and we disrespect and kick the teachers, the people who raise our youth, so to speak. You know what I mean? So
you got a guy, the coach at North Montgomery has to resign because he can't afford to feed his family.
I saw that.
He's the basketball coach, and he loves the kids. He's a great teacher and coach by all accounts, and he's got to leave the business because he can't afford to stay.
Yep.
I mean, you're paying a teacher average salary of what, $35,000?
I was going to say 35 to 45.
That's less than poverty.
Yeah, what
30? I mean, what, 40,000? Less than 40,000 is almost poverty, and that's the people that you're paying.
That's what you want
to teach our children.
This is way off topic, and I'm not getting political, but that's how we dumb down society. Don't get good teachers in because we're not going to pay them as much, so nobody's going to want the job. So
but let that coach win a state championship,
and it gets $2 million.
My God, if your kid comes home and has an F on a test, you're going in and teeing that teacher up and saying, what the hell is going on here? How come my kid's flunking? The teacher's making $35,000 a year, and you're holding that teacher accountable for not getting your kid right.
Exactly.
And he's got 45 kids in the class.
Who the hell wants that kind of nonsense?
Exactly. Well,
I mean,
and then
how about check yourself? Are
Exactly.
you doing the homework with your kid when he comes home?
Exactly. Are you
Are
spending
you
the
telling?
time?
Are you when you get that phone call from school? Are you going up there snatching a hole in that kid's ass?
Or you just wait until he gets off
Are
school?
you blaming the teacher?
Exactly.
Right.
The same way, and it goes the same way when you come back to sports.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Your kid's sitting on the bench, but you want to go blame the coach because your kid's on the bench.
Right.
How about you go shoot free throws with that kid?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How about you get some cones and help that kid dribble
Sacrifice
instead of
your
blaming
time.
the coach?
Sacrifice your time instead of letting everybody else babysit your kid.
That's the one thing I didn't like about coaching.
Oh, I hate when I got people
parents?
that I have people come in and just dropping their kids off. That's fine, but do not give me any type of shit when we lose a game or your kid's not playing because were you at practice? Do you know what he's putting his effort in? Do you understand that I got 8 players here that are 4th and 5th graders that they all deserve the same playing time and for most aspects?
My kid graduated from Loyola, came back, and Pete Smith hooked him up with a coaching gig of some 6th graders over at the Fisher's Fieldhouse, that Best Choice Fieldhouse. And so I thought, well, I'll go watch Ryan coach. This will be fun. So I go there, and I'm sitting. I don't know who I'm sitting with, but they're the parents of Ryan's team's kids.
Mm-hmm.
They were vicious.
Oh, man.
Horrible. And they didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
Have no clue.
Exactly.
The ignorance twisted itself into this tornado of negativity. It was awful.
They just yell out stuff that they hear other people say.
Right.
Do you watch MMA at all?
A little bit.
Okay, so that's like the people in the crowd saying arm bar, and he's got a full mount on something, or something crazy. Why are you yelling that?
Right.
I just want to look at parents on this and shut up.
Shut up, man. Like you want to cheer so bad. You want to be involved. You have no clue what is going on in this sport. Like you've never played before in your life.
Right.
You didn't know this was a sport until your daughter started playing.
Because it was
Parents
made
have
of
a terrible
babysitting
time
things.
figuring out what they don't know.
Exactly.
And if you don't know, just shut the hell up and let your kid enjoy it.
My mom said I had a great mom.
You had a great mom.
Here's what she said. Hey, best believe
I'm not disagreeing with that,
there'll
Mom.
be 13,000 people in Lawrence North Stadium or gym where we're playing. That might be exaggerating a bit.
Maybe a little.
Just a little bit.
Maybe about 2,500.
Maybe
Maybe 2,500 kids and people, but cheering. And I hear
your
her.
mother.
That's the only one I hear. Out of all the people cheering, I hear her. But I mean, I feel it. I was a parent once, and being a parent, I played the sport that my daughter plays.
Yeah.
So I see things, and I wanted. And the first couple of years, I had to learn. I need to step back.
Yeah.
And be a parent and let them coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when I work with my daughter, I work with her on things that help their team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which entitled helps her.
Right.
You know, they run a high post, a high low type of thing.
So you're
a
gonna
lot
work
of things
those.
that I work with her on is a high post. You know, the free throw line jump shot, turning and facing, being able to drive the bucket and pass from that position because that helps their team.
Right.
You know, I don't coach against. I don't train against their coach.
Right. Hey, you learn this from your coach, but don't do it this way. I'm going to show you how I want you to do it.
Right.
That type of shit should be gone.
Yeah, but now if you're just completely teaching them wrong about a fundamental skill,
That's
I'm
different.
going to say something.
Yeah.
Right. But you know this too. Even the coaches who are squirrely and don't know what the hell they're doing, they're not trying to be idiots.
No.
You know, they're trying to take good care of the kids, and they're trying to put them in a position where they can have fun playing the game. If you think like a 4th grade coach is going to be John Wooden
Right.
or Archie Miller or Matt Painter, you're on
Right.
your mind.
Most of the time, they're
I'm
dads.
I'm not getting paid $2 million
Just
to
well-meaning
coach.
dads. All
I've
I
seen
wanted to
dads
do-
quit.
When I coached basketball, I wanted to even up the minutes. I wanted everybody to get an opportunity and put them in a position where they could maybe succeed.
Yep.
That's it. I don't know shit. I can't draw up X's and O's. I'm not doing that. Fill lanes, run,
Exactly.
Shoot. If you're open, shoot the damn ball.
You see that? Go towards that.
That's it.
I'm with you.
Keep them from putting that in there, and you put yours in there.
Exactly. That sounded like sex ed.
That sounds like prom
I
night.
was gonna say that sounded way off.
Oh yeah,
So-
I agree.
Are we a racing fan?
Am I a racing fan? I love IndyCar.
That's where I'm going at.
All right.
Okay. So I want your predictions on the Indy Grand Prix this weekend.
Willpower.
Willpower.
There you go.
That's
I'm going
it.
with him.
That's it.
Why? Are you a
He always
Penske
wins.
fan?
This is what he
He
does.
always-
Are you a
He
Willpower fan or are you a Penske fan?
He is a really interesting guy. I like talking to Willpower. Willpower is really opinionated, and if you ask him a good question, he gives you a great answer.
Okay.
And if you ask
Thank you,
him
sir.
a terrible question, he gets really, really bored. So he makes you work for it. And I
Okay.
respect that about him.
Okay.
And I think he's a nice guy. I like Willpower.
Okay,
And
so-
Penske, I'm always a fan.
That's
I
unfortunate.
think he's a genius.
See,
That's
I've
unfortunate.
always been an Andretti fan. I mean, when I was younger, it was, Mario was running, and I caught the last ending of him, and then
Yeah.
Michael came in. Michael was always my guy. Marco came in. Obviously, I want Marco to do good. Then they picked up Rossi. I'm like, yeah, my brother works for Napa. I'll bet on, I'll bet. There I go. I'll bet on him
That's what they got to do. They need parimutuel betting
at the track. Oh
You've
man,
gotta
do
be
you
able to
know how
bet
much
on the
money
drivers.
they would be making?
Why don't they do that? I mean, that's like, what are you doing? Now you can.
Well, not
They
yet.
can figure it out.
Well, yeah, I
Let's
mean, you
sign
can
into
do it-
law, so June
You can do it
30th,
online and all that.
whatever.
Is that when it is? June 30th is when they're talking?
I think that's when all the new laws
Go into
maybe
effect.
it's July
Okay.
1st. June 30th,
But
maybe
we're
the
part
last
of that, right? Indiana's a part of that.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, Indiana's going to go.
I just want to know who's got the parlay cards for my my college football. That's it. I want to pay $5 and win $1,500. That's it.
Good luck. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
You lying son.
I have done.
You never won $1,500 on
No.
Okay.
You said, "Have you done it?"
and I
you
said,
didn't say, "Have you
said,
won?"
I want to put $5
You said-
and win $1,500.
you
And I
said-
said, have you done it?
I played.
Kent, how would you take that question?
I wasn't paying
He backed
attention.
out.
I was drinking my water.
Take that.
Okay, so we are in the month of May. Now, you've been around since 93, you said, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you've seen what the month of May in Indianapolis really is the month of May.
Right.
Now, they have put a second race in the month of May here in Indiana,
Right.
or in Indianapolis. Do you like the Grand Prix? Do you okay?
I think it's any excuse to go out there, drink beer, I'm in.
I like it.
That's it.
I like
Just pack the cooler, go out, watch the cars go fast. That's wonderful to me.
I like it.
The
All right.
cars going fast is optional for me. It's about going out there drinking beer.
Yeah, right.
I haven't watched a race that I've been at.
It's.
Do you know a black guy other than Willie T. Ribbs that really likes racing?
You know what?
Because he doesn't even think it's a sport.
It's
Here's
Jesus.
where like color blindness, I think, totally exists. You got a cooler, you got beer, you got sandwiches, and there you go. That cuts
There you
across
go.
all racial lines.
There you go. I
Like
like it.
fishing. It's like fishing. You want to go to the race? We'll be drinking. I'm there.
So you going with Willpower in the 500 then?
Probably not Willpower in the 500. I'll go with Dixon, just to be obstinate, maybe.
It's Kanan racing.
He is.
Yeah,
I'm going with Tony.
He's still with AJ Foyt's team.
I don't know. I'm just going. He's the only one I
he's
know.
a funny guy. I like him.
Yeah.
He's always got time for the media.
He always does.
Yeah,
He always
so
does.
I
I'm
like
going
Tony.
for Danica.
You going for Danica to get pregnant or win the 500?
Go, Aaron.
Okay, so you're saying Willpower this weekend,
Yep.
and then Scott Dixon in
Yeah.
a couple weeks.
Chris
Okay.
says Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, there you go.
So he's
The F1 driver.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
He's
he
really
says they're
calling you a
again
smart man. Yeah, so
How long does this show last?
We're almost
This
done.
is
about 7 minutes.
We
Yeah,
got 7
you got a pee
minutes.
break too? You got a pee break too? Because I
An hour
usually
and a half.
take, I usually do take like a weekly pee break.
Hour and a half without commercials. This is really fun. This is different because it just
just
rolls
keeps
from
going.
one thing to the next and off you go. It's different from a radio show.
Exactly.
I like this.
We only have commercial when people want us to promote things.
Right. Then we'll put one in.
And then we'll run down our little menu and our script. But no, we normally do it an hour and a half, 7:30 to 9.
Nice.
And then we'll break it down. We'll talk about anything. We do interact with the people watching us. You know, we just started phone calls.
Yeah, we just got that going in. Yeah.
How do you do it?
We hook a cord up to here and then to an auxiliary cord that plugs right into our phone, and it runs right through.
Wow, no kidding.
Yep.
All right.
That's why I was saying, you know, if you couldn't make it tonight, we could always do a phone interview. So.
This is what a high-tech operation. You guys got this rolling. You got it rolling. What is that? Is that Periscope? What is that?
What's that?
What is that?
This?
What's that on? Yeah.
Facebook.
What is it?
This
It's
Facebook.
Facebook Live.
They're both Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That way we
Just
can read
look
the
different.
comments. And
All
he's
right.
got YouTube in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the background.
Okay, perfect.
We're doing a little bit of everything, man.
Nice. Nice.
Hey,
Sweet.
we're our own people.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but man, it's been awesome having you
Yeah.
here today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We've had a ball. It's not often we get to have local celebrities come in and kick it
the
with us.
Indianapolis sports media icon.
That's
I asked him today. I said, "So, how do you want us to kind of bring you on?" He's like, "That covers it." I'm like, "You know what? I can do that. That's
if
good."
somebody
Good with it.
asks you, not to get like obscene, but if somebody says, "How long's your penis?" Are you going to tell them 3 inches, or are you going to tell them 12?
8. I'm gonna at least,
you
yeah.
ask
I'm
me,
with
how,
you.
How do you want me to refer to you? I'm a Indianapolis sports media icon, and that's the way it is.
And I went with it, and I love it. And
You just let it swing.
You just let it swing. All 12 inches.
All right. So, yeah, this has been awesome. So, I mean, you know, I hope this will be, you know, the start of some good things. Maybe we can get you back sometime
It's
during
been
one
fun.
of the seasons with the Pacers come back or the coach come back in.
Sure.
And we can sit here and hash it up, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I'm sure there'll be some things coming up that we'll disagree on, and that could be really fun.
I know it's time to, I know with you being all up there with the big boys, you have to follow the rules. You come down here with us guys in the basement, you know, you can relax, let your hair down, so to speak. So
we're waiting on you.
well, it's growing.
Uh-huh.
It's a little fuzzy.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, again, this has been awesome. So
I appreciate it. I had a good time. You guys are terrific.
All right, thank
Fun.
you. Thank you. You got any other closing questions for
I'm
Mr.
good
Kent? still?
with Mr. Kent.
All right, Kent.
Kent is
Why don't
awesome,
you
man.
thank you real quick before you
Been
get
a
off?
pleasure.
Why don't you give yourself a little plug on what you got
can,
going on?
Follow me on Twitter at Kent Sterling, or friend me on Facebook. And every morning at 8, we got Breakfast with Kent on Facebook Live. And then
And I try to catch it live, but I always miss the live feed, so I catch it at like 11 o'clock. And
that's the nice thing about Facebook. You can watch it live, you can watch it taped, whatever. Periscope immediately after. I do a second one
okay,
because I don't know how to do both at the same time.
okay,
So, and that's fun. I write during the day at 3 o'clock on SoundCloud and on The Grueling Truth and on iTunes. You've got Sports Nothing But Sports, and generally that's an interview with somebody about something.
yep,
Today I talked to Drew Davis about Indiana recruiting. He does a great job covering that for Pigs. Tomorrow, the day before was George Bremer about the Colts. Tomorrow I'm talking to Brian Snow about more recruiting. He's with the 24/7 Sports People.
Is he Jon Snow's cousin?
I do not know.
Okay.
I'll ask him tomorrow.
where the hell did that come from?
Snow, Game of Thrones.
Oh, there you
Get
go.
with
There you
it,
go.
people.
All right.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
But yeah, we just keep rolling, and you know, I like interviewing guys, and I used to do that on the radio show all the time. I have 4 or 5 guests a day, and I don't want to not do that. So you know, the podcasting's fun because I get to.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
I
Excellent.
know the feeling. We're trying to get where you're at.
Yeah,
But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So what do we have for? We got our closing.
I was
our
gonna say, yeah,
closing
we're
segment.
closing. We're closing.
said what
real
not?
quick, real quick. What do you think of esports nowadays?
I love Pacers Gaming. Pacers Gaming
okay.
is, I think, unbelievably cool. They play in Vegas this weekend in the tournament. I love the way they run that operation. I think it's really cool. I think NBA 2K is on the vanguard of something really, really cool.
Which one did you say? Did you say live or 2K?
2K.
Huh.
I mean, I don't really understand what your point is.
These are live guys.
It's just the name of the league.
I know.
I'm not.
I know. I just like giving them shit.
between
Yeah.
you.
I just like giving them shit.
All right. But yeah, I love it. Cody Parent, the coach, great dude. The way they run that operation, I think they're really smart.
Nice. All right.
Thank you.
There
guys.
you have it.
All right,
Thank
have
you,
a good
kid.
one.
We'll be in touch. Definitely.
right.
Like to have you back sometime.
Perfect. Enjoy your.
Oh yeah.
That would be Crown.
All right. All right. See you guys.
Thanks, kid.
All right.